कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ यशोदानंदना Jai His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Samsthatakacharya Seva the whole world Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 9, Answers by citing the Lord's version, text number 36. Etavadeva jignasyam
Etavadeva jignasyam
tattva jignasunatmanaha
tattva jignasunatmanaha
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा
एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम्
एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम्
तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः
तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम्
एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम्
तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः
तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम्
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा
यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम् यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा
एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम्
एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम् यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्याम् यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A person who is searching after the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Personality of Godhead, most certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Please repeat the translation. A person who is searching after the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Personality of Godhead, most certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Continuing to read the purport. In the Bhagavad Gita it is stated that one can serve the Lord by offering the result of one's own work. It does not matter what one does. Generally men say Men may say that whatever they are doing is inspired by God, but that is not all. One should actually work on behalf of God as a servant of God. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 9.27, Yad karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasyat yad tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Do whatever you like or whatever may be easier for you to do. Eat whatever you may eat, sacrifice whatever you can sacrifice, give whatever you may give in charity, do whatever you may undertake in penance, but everything must be done for Him only. If you do business or if you accept some employment, do so on behalf of the Lord. Whatever you may eat, you may offer the same to the Lord and be assured that He will return the food after eating it Himself. He is a complete whole, and therefore whatever he may eat as offered by the devotee is accepted because of the devotee's love. But again, it is returned as prasada for the devotee so that he can be happy by eating. In other words, be a servant of God and live peacefully in that consciousness, ultimately returning home back to God. It is said in the Skanda Purana, Yasya smritya cha namoktya tapo yajna kriyadishu nunam sampurnatameti sadyo vande tamachyutam. I offer my obeisances unto Him, the infallible, because simply by either remembering Him or vibrating His holy name, one can attain the perfection of all penances, sacrifices, or fruitive activities, and this process can be universally followed. It is enjoined in the Bhagavatam 2.3.10, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarathihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Though a person be full of desires or have no desires, he may follow this path of infallible bhakti yoga for complete perfection. One need not be anxious to propitiate each and every demigod and goddess because the root of all of them is the personality of Godhead. As by pouring water on the root of the tree one serves and enlivens all the branches and leaves, so by rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, one automatically serves every god and goddess without extraneous effort. The Lord is all-pervading and therefore service unto Him is also all-pervading. This fact is corroborated in the Skanda Purana as follows. Archite deva deveshe Shankha Chakra Gadadhare Archita Sarva Devasyu Yata Sarva Gato Harihi. When the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, who carries in His hands a conch shell, wheat, club and lotus flower, is worshipped, certainly all other demigods are worshipped automatically because Hari, the personality of Godhead, is all-pervading. Therefore, in all cases, namely nominative, objective, causative, dative, ablative, possessive and supportive, everyone is benefited by such transcendental loving service to the Lord. The man who worships the Lord Himself who is worshipped, the cause for which the Lord is worshipped, the source of supply, the place where such worship is done, etc. Everything is benefited by such an action. I'll stop reading the purport at this point. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse explaining that anyone who is searching after the Supreme Absolute Truth, to search up to this point of discovering the personality of Godhead, in all circumstances, in all space and time, both directly and indirectly, is explained in the purport. that service to the Lord is the way to discover the Lord. And such service can be done very easily by anyone. How is that? Because everyone has to work. So, Bhagavad Gita states, you can serve the Lord by offering the result of your work to Him. It does not matter what one does. Now, this does not mean that somebody can do some nonsense and offer the results of the work to God. No. Here, whatever one does, Yat Karoshi, later on in the Bhagavad Gita is also told, Yat Karoshi, whatever you do, there it is understood that you will choose to do what is allowed to do. It's not that you select something which is not allowed or which is not given as a choice. That is not acceptable. So sinful activities are not supposed to be done by anybody. There is no choice there in terms of sinful activity. Pious activities, whatever you may choose to do, whichever pious activity, is if you offer the results of those pious activity, any pious activity, to the Supreme Lord, in that way you can serve the Lord. In that way you can understand serving the Lord is universally applicable to everybody. Now why is this told? Because in worship of the demigods, for each demigod there is a specific recommendation how to worship, what to offer, when to offer, how to offer, for which purpose to offer. Everything is very, very highly restrictive. If you go through the scriptures, they say for Ganesha, you have to offer 21 times a particular item. A particular type of flower has to be offered to a particular demigod. A particular type of eatable has to be prepared in a particular way and offered to a demigod. The vratas are full of such restrictions. Like they cook in a particular month rice with little turmeric and little ghee and offer that and partake only that. Whereas in the devotional service offered to Krishna according to the Bhagavata process, you may offer rice, you may offer chapati, you may offer milk, you may offer fruits, anything you offer. Make sure you offer to the Lord and partake the remnants as prasada. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Krishna says you may offer a flower, a leaf, a fruit or water, but offer it with devotion, with bhakti. That is what Krishna wants. He doesn't insist you are to offer this particular fruit only or this particular flower only. No. He does not insist like that. So, the process of devotional service is, in this sense, universal. You are anyway eating. Now, instead of simply directly eating, you offer to the Lord and then you partake the remnants. As Prabhupada says here, because he is the complete whole, whatever he may eat as offered by the devotee is accepted because of the devotee's love. Which means that when you offer to Krishna something, it's not that he is hungry, he is in need, therefore you have to offer him or he will take. No. He will only accept if you offer with love, and it is returned as prasad for the devotee, so that the devotee can be happy by eating the prasad. In all cases, the Lord will return whatever you offer to Him as prasada. In other words, the sense in which this is told is that you have to act as the servant of God, so that in this consciousness you can live peacefully in this world. If somebody is not having this consciousness, then such a person cannot be peaceful. Many times people say we want peace of mind. Why are they not peaceful? They think that, oh, I'm not peaceful because I'm lacking something, I'm not having this, I have some want or I have some problem. No, that is not the real cause of the disturbance to the mind. The real cause of disturbance to the mind is that you are not situated properly in the right consciousness. And to become peaceful, you have to come to this state of consciousness, God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And what is that Krishna consciousness? I am servant of Krishna. Whatever I may do, I offer the results to Krishna. Whatever I may eat, I first offer to Krishna and take remembrance of prasadam. Yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi. Whatever I may give in charity, I should give it to Krishna. Dadasi, whatever you give, whatever you offer in sacrifice. Yet tapasyasi, whatever austerity may offer, I offer it to Krishna. In this way, tat kurushva madarpanam. Offering to Krishna is important because of your relationship with Krishna. Eternal, permanent relationship with Krishna. Other than this relationship with Krishna, every other relationship in this world is a temporary, illusory relationship. All other relationships are not real. All other relationships are not eternal. All other relationships are not permanent. Even with the demigods, even with the parents or with the dependents, it's not eternal relationship. Why? Because the position of the demigods, let's say some demigod is responsible for supplying rain. So somebody may say we are dependent on the demigod for rain. Now the demigod's position is a temporary position. He is not permanently, eternally supplier of rain. No. He is there in the position by a higher arrangement. Who is arranging that? That is arranged by Krishna. Krishna has made the arrangement that some demigod, because of the demigod's desire to be enjoying that position or power or that kind of work or that mentality, Krishna is accommodating. So it is Krishna who is arranging. If that demigod were not to be in that position, Krishna himself will make other arrangement. Ultimately, whatever is the necessity that is supplied by Krishna, eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman, he supplies everyone's needs. Either through the demigod, this demigod or that demigod or somebody else, somehow Krishna will supply. So, it is not that demigods are eternally our suppliers or maintainers. No. Krishna is our eternal maintainer. Krishna is our eternal supplier. Krishna is our connection with Krishna is a permanent one. With others it is temporary, it is incidental. So the demigod's positions are changeable. Demigod's powers are temporary. demigod's relationship is not permanent. So, if we search out for the permanent relationship, permanent supplier, permanent dependent, then it is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is in that position and nobody else. That is why Krishna says, you offer to me. Because even if somebody offers to a demigod, what happens? If the offering is to be properly done according to the Vedic injunctions, say somebody offers a sacrifice to Indra, Indra Yajna, Indraya Swaha. Then, in such a sacrifice, the chief beneficiary of the sacrifice is Vishnu. Through Indra, you are offering to Vishnu. Indirectly, you are always offering to Vishnu, if not directly. So, what is the difference between indirectly offering and directly offering? Directly offering, you are able to awaken your eternal relationship with Krishna immediately. Indirectly, if you offer, it takes time for you to realize that through Indra, somebody else is being offered. It takes time. And after some time, it is expected that you will come to the point of recognizing, understanding your relationship with Krishna ultimately. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I am the ultimate enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Sarva yajna. There are so many different types of yajnas prescribed in the scriptures. Because the demigods who are intermediate controllers or suppliers, through them you are offering to Krishna. But Krishna says, you directly offer to me. Then there is no need to offer to any demigod. That is explained in so many places in the scriptures that Prabhupada is quoting from Skanda Purana. I offer my obeisances unto him, the infallible, Achyuta, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, because simply by either remembering him or vibrating his holy name, one can attain the perfection of all penances, sacrifices, or fruitive activities. So many different types of fruitive activities Karma Kanda section describes. For specific results or benefit, one may worship some particular demigod or do particular vrata or do particular tapasya, do particular dana, yajna, dana, tapa, kriya. But whatever it is, ultimately the perfection of any of these activities is attained simply by chanting His holy name of the Supreme Lord. Or by simply remembering Him, even can attain the perfection. Even in the Bhagavatam it is explained, akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo udaradhi. If somebody is broad-minded, simply by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one can achieve whatever results or whatever perfection one desires. Akama. Akama means the devotees who are without any material desire. Or Sarvakama, the materialistic persons, fruitive workers who have all kinds of material desires. Or Mokshikama, somebody who's not exactly desireless, but at the same time they don't have fruitive desires in this world, but they want liberation. Mokshikama. All such persons can achieve the desired result simply by worshipping the Supreme Lord. Yajeta Purusham Param. Worship the Supreme Personality of God. One should or one must, yajeta, one must worship simply the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not bother to worship different demigods or different other agents, intermediaries. No. Same thing is told in the Skanda Purana, Archite Deva Deveshe. If you worship the Lord of all Lords, who is specifically referred here as Shankha Chakra Gadadhare, he is holding the four symbols, conch, lotus, disc, and club. Archita Sarva Devasyu, that is as good as worshipping all the demigods. Because Sarvagato Harihi, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is all pervading. He is automatically worshipped. Everyone is automatically worshipped and worship Hari because he is all pervading. His jurisdiction extends everywhere. Whereas the demigod jurisdiction is very, very limited. So you cannot expect by worshipping a particular demigod that all purposes will be served. So in all cases, now this is the conclusion given by Prabhupada, namely nominative, objective, causative, dative, these are all called karakas in Sanskrit language. What is a karaka? Let's say the person who is worshipping God, the worshipper. Then the object of worship, that is God Himself. Then the cause for which the Lord is worshipped. The reason, the cause. And the source of supply of such worship. The place where such worship is done. Like that, in all cases, everyone is benefited by such an action of worshipping the Supreme Lord. So in all cases, the benefit is extended to everyone involved in such an action. It's not that if somebody worships God, that only the worshipper will benefit, or only God will benefit. No. Everyone is benefited. Just like watering the root of the tree, every part of the tree is nourished. Every part of the tree is nourished. Separately, you don't have to supply water to different parts of the tree. Similarly, simply by worshipping Krishna, everyone is satisfied. Everyone is receiving their quota of whatever their need is. So, therefore, such worship of the Supreme Lord, especially by the method of the Bhagavatam, is recommended. Not again, Jai Krishna, not again the ritual. More important than the ritual is the devotion. Because again, if somebody gets to the ritual portion of the Vedas, then so many restrictions come in, so many rules and regulations come in. Do's and don'ts will come. What you should offer, how you should offer, where you should offer, what time you should offer, for what purpose you should offer, all those restrictions will come. But the spirit of offering is not exactly all these rules. And now why these restrictions are given then? Why don't they directly say, offer whatever you can offer, you offer to Krishna directly? Because people are not having the faith. People lack the faith. To build up the faith, one of the ways to build up the faith of the people in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the Lord of all lords, is to take them through the route of gradually elevating their consciousness by the path of Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, all these. Their faith can be gradually developed if they begin by worshipping some demigod, getting the results of their worship, following the restrictive rules and regulations. They become regulated, they become gradually controlled in their senses, they develop faith, and gradually it is revealed that ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who is the one who is giving the results. Bhagavad Gita explains this. Whatever you may worship or sacrifice to any demigod, ultimately it is Krishna only who gives you the result of such sacrifice. So, to gradually elevate a person by building his faith through these different processes is one method. But the Bhagavatam process is directly come to the standard of this faith in the Supreme Lord by association or contact with a pure devotee. If somebody contacts a pure devotee, directly his faith is established in Krishna. Like Prabhupada is directly present in Krishna. So somebody suggested when Prabhupada was starting this society, registering the society in New York, he said this society will be called International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So somebody said, it would be better if you name it as International Society for God Consciousness. Because Prabhupada is always talking, this is meant for everyone. International Society for all people, all places, all times. So why not name it God Consciousness? To make it universal. To have universal appeal. Prabhupada said no, Krishna Consciousness. Why? Because Krishna is not the kind of God that people think that he is sectarian, he is meant for some people. No. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the Lord of everyone, in all planets, all places, all peoples. That is Krishna. So Prabhupada was communicating this particular point in naming the society also. So that is possible. Now again Prabhupada proved it, not just that he established one society by this name and then that's the end of it. No. He traveled everywhere and preached Krishna consciousness to all classes of people. He went to Africa, he went to Greece, he went to Rome, he went to Italy, he went to Australia, he went to different Asian countries, Philippines, they are dog eaters. Africa, they are tribals. Prabhupada proved the statement of the Bhagavatam. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulka shaabhi rishumba yavana kasadaya. Shukadeva Goswami made this statement 5,000 years ago. And Prabhupada proved it. Yes, Bhagavatam is applicable. Bhagavata process is applicable to everybody. Anyone can take up devotional service. It doesn't matter what the person's background is. So Prabhupada took the chanting of the holy names of God as recommended the Bhagavatam and spoke on the Bhagavatam everywhere, made devotees from all parts of the world. So this is a fact that is possible because the contact with the pure devotee awakens the faith of the person, which is already there in the heart. That faith has to be awakened by the right process, by the right person. It's very important that any person, if at all he wants to have this faith in Krishna, develop the faith in Krishna, then he has to contact a pure devotee, or he has to go through the gradual process of elevation of consciousness, which will take millions of lifetimes. Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso munipungavana. Even the best of the munis, the great saintly persons, the yogis or tapasvis, even they have to practice this pranayama or studying the scriptures to differentiate matter from spirit. For millions of years, Koti Shatavatsara. Then they can approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So it's a very, very gradual process, very slow process. But it's a direct process, quick process, is to contact a pure devotee and follow this path of pure devotional service. And that is being recommended by the Supreme Lord to Brahma in this verse. Okay, let's stop it. Indra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.